Hello everyone, I've finally managed to speak correctly. Not because I got better, but I found this cool online tool to help me in my endeavors. AI voice to text. I'm probably going to change her voice soon, but I've always wanted to make a video talking about video games, so I'm begin with a real fun one. Ranking the Arkham villains and see how well this goes. Let's go ahead with the most obvious villain, the Joker, and get him out of the way. He has an easy S tier. I loved him in Origins, he's fun in Asylum, and a blast in City, but I hate him in Night. Don't get me wrong, he's a good character in Night, but he makes all the other villains have less potential. Scarecrow, who was supposed to be the main antagonist, was reduced to pretty much a side antagonist. While the spotlight was taken away by the Joker, even then I don't understand Scarecrow's motivations. Like he wants to make everyone have a dose of fear toxin, but tells everyone they should leave the city, and then halfway through his plan fails, and then pretends his only motivation was to reveal Batman's true identity. As if that justifies the private army he built, and the chemical station he had to blow up, and so many other things. C tier because he throws the handicap off the roof. And then you have the Arkham Knight, who knows how to fight Batman, which is cool, but all he really does is send tanks after, while pretending to be cool. But when you do fight him, it's just elaborate chase scene, and his fight is sort of walk underneath him and take him out. It took 5 seconds for me to figure out. Looking back now, I feel like they could have made his fight into a fun little fist fight, as it could have been more poetic. They're both equal fighters, while the Arkham Knight does have a gun giving him the edge, as keeps hesitating on killing Batman because he still has feelings for Bruce, so only shoots him in the arm, lowering your HP even further, both never committing. But what really disappoints me is instead taking down Batman himself, he just yells at his trained guards, knowing full well they're useless. Yeah, Joker yelled at his henchmen, but he didn't care. Joker was just hoping to eventually get lucky or catch Batman by surprise, as that was his only opportunity. He could never fight him in a 1v1. The Arkham Knight knows how to fight Batman, but constantly lets Batman get away, which just makes him the bottom of D tier for me. Joker should have died in City, maybe make a cameo in Night, but he ruins all the other characters' potential of being interesting as the story is on him. Anyways, I'll go ahead and do the others. Bane from Asylum and City. I'm probably going to put together in C tier as he's sorta just the alpha version of the other Titans. But his gameplay was run at you, and repeat for several minutes, and you'll win. I don't know if they could have made him little more fun to fight at the time they could have given stealth section like they did in Origins, but I don't think they were thinking too much about him, which is sorta a shame because he is an interesting villain, but yeah, Bane in Origins is S tier. I don't remember his motivations in Origins, but he actually was very intimidating and is very fun to fight. But most importantly, his actions are hilarious. I think need to explain this part in order to help you understand how Bane's logic is. Batman tracks down Bane's secret hideout, which reveals that Bane knew who Batman identity this entire time. So Bane, being the 200 IQ individual he is, lets Batman not only fight Deathstroke, Deadshot, and like 7 other villains, runs the risk of Batman getting killed by any of these assassins and losing $50 million. He decides to do nothing. Instead of simple going to Wayne Manor or Wayne Enterprises and attempting to get an easy payday. And once you found out about this information, Bane calls you, destroys part of the cave, fights Alfred, and then goes to prison and is like, "Oh yay, I'll meet you cell block C, pussy," which is hilarious. S tier, 10 out of 10 moving on. Deadshot in Arkham City is an easy D tier. He feels like cut content, as the only thing you have to do is walk around to him and do a takedown. Deadshot in Origins, however, is an easy A tier. Unlike his counterpart in Origins, this fight is rather very difficult. You have to get close to him, which sounds easy, but he tracks you from across the room. Deathstroke is a very fun and intense fight, and the first time you fight him, you'll probably lose. And the music, the fight itself, his intro of him getting you off your toes, really makes the fight that more intense.
It appears the game is over before it even begins. I'm not playing games, Slade.
And in one of the trailers for Arkham, he has one of the coolest fights with Batman to the point where you truly don't know who's going to win. So, yep, definitely S tier. So moving on to Harley Quinn, and since she's just a character with no real boss fights, like she isn't really cool, is just a cinematic scene almost, and no real motivations other than pleasing the J-man. But she really just exists to be an annoyance and has no real combat skill outside being in your way. I'm going to be talking about her in a minute with the Suicide Squad game, but for now I want to get done with this ranking video. Poison Ivy is kinda in the same league. She definitely is hot, but her arc in Arkham Knight makes her a good guy, and her fight in Asylum isn't really all that fun. I don't think throwing stuff at the plant or running up and putting explosives on the plant is that fun. A tier. Doctor Strange. His intro is cool, but he has no motivation other than to commit to war crimes, which sure is cool. But I don't know why he's doing it. Like, sure, you can make the excuse that he wanted to purge Gotham, but I feel like you could do something that isn't as complicated. My favorite part is when he showed up in the Avengers, for sure. I'll put him in B tier. Ra's al Ghul. I think his motivation makes more sense on committing war crimes, but part of me wishes he acted like a boomer for no reason. As for the boss fight itself, it was pretty epic, and even going back and replaying it, definitely a solid A tier. Mr. Freeze, well, his fight was rather easy, and I remember seeing a reviewer say his fight was interesting, but I kind of thought it was really simple, like, you're just doing different style takedowns and whatnot, but each their own, I guess. Penguin is definitely C tier. His character is consistent in the 3 games he is in, but in Knight, he's kind of thrown under the bus, while in City and Origins, he had peak gameplay as he had more to do with the main story. Two-Face was also great intro for City, plus I like his memes.
No! Rachel!
Harvey. Okay.
Rachel!
But in Knight, he's also thrown under the bus, CE tier. Riddler, I think he gets C tier as well. I think he has far too many collectibles and challenges. And his mech fight was okay, but he felt like more filler, which it is, but after a while, it just gets annoying. Solomon Grundy was a cool boss as well. I don't know why he isn't on this tier list, so we're going to pretend this guy is Solomon Grundy. It was pretty quick and had somewhat of cool boss arena. He's not really a Batman villain that I know of, but his fight was pretty unique. Clayface is definitely C tier, no wait, D tier behind Penguin. Yeah, he is the final fight, but a lot Clayface's character aspects was just an extension of the Joker's. I know Ra's and Solomon Grundy were sort of the same, but they were just an evolution of the same boss fight. Scarecrow in Asylum is definitely A tier. Like, as a kid playing it, he definitely gave me goosebumps, and his sections could be considered horror movie content. He had no motivations other than to fuck with you, and levels were very creative. Mad Hatter is also B tier. He's a clone of Scarecrow, but he still leaves a good impression on the player. Mr. Pig is a joke D tier. Killer Croc for Asylum and Origins are both B tier, but for Asylum Killer Croc, he had a better intro, but both fights were pretty mid. Firefly belongs in the bottom of C mainly due to him just being filler. Nothing wrong with that, just he feels like unenjoyable filler. Hush, I almost want to put in D tier, but to be honest, he doesn't really fit into the City or in Knight, and to be honest, I'm just leaving him out. Now for the Three Stooges, I don't think they belong here either. Maybe if I do this. Characters that shouldn't be here. I might as well do it for the rest. So who do we have left? Anarchy. He feels sort of made up randomly, and I don't remember much of him. I'll put him above the Pig, though. Man-Bat isn't really a villain, but he did get a good jump scare out of me, so he does go above Anarchy. Now I see Black Mask, and to be honest, Origins set up him to be a great character for Knight, but he never returned. Mid-C tier. Now this guy is pretty fun. I have memes set up for him, but I don't want to consider him a boss, as I can't even think of his name. Victor's ass was okay. He wasn't all that memorable, he was just in a loaded game. Now this guy has his own story, but kind of felt like filler. Just like 80% of the villains in Knight feel like side villains, I might as well just throw him into this list as he didn't really impact the story at all. Copperhead is also a bad character and feels like the worst one out of the losing your mind segments, a tier with you. Lady Shiva I do not remember at all, but I do remember the baby stroller jump scare. So Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League just got a delay, but from the gameplay I've seen, I don't know how I feel about it. Rocksteady has never been shy to microtransaction. and I like co-op games, but when it comes to bullet sponge types, it makes the game feel worse. Though I'm trying to be optimistic, as they're a quote-unquote new studio. I've seen the gameplay trailer, and I don't know how I feel about it yet. I like looter shooters, and the game reminded me of Sunset Overdrive, which I loved. But this isn't my Harley Quinn back then. I'm sure they're going to sell me her cosmetics, which I probably will buy because I don't play Junkrat version of Harley. As for the heroes for Suicide Squad, we haven't seen much gameplay, but Barry talking non-stop. And a lot of the game seems to have a lot more cinematic than any of the Arkham games, which I'm sort of not a fan of. None of the original developers from the Arkham games work at Rocksteady, and if they do, I'd imagine they're there for an easy paycheck. Anyways, tell me, what's your top 5 Arkham villains?